chased by fright, I rest barely each night. Cursed I'm wasting my time. I'm cursed I'm just getting by.
Are those real candles?
Yes, real candles, beeswax, very beautiful smell.
Ah, yeah, I'm very familiar. I don't have any beeswax going right now, but I do have a candle altar myself. Instead of a television, just have the candles.
A very nice picture to behold when you're looking at a candle instead of the television, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So you were talking a little bit about how things were in Berlin.
Yes, it's a different than usual. Um, it's more quiet. People are indoors. It For the first time you actually hear the neighbors. Like everyone is here. Everyone is at home. Mm, the clubs try to find a way to survive. Everyone actually tries to find a way to financially survive. Um, some people cope with it better, some don't. Um, it feels so quiet here. It's unusual. The quietness, the stillness, but I
Yeah.
like it just feels different. I don't want to say bad. It's just so different.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So how has your life been different in the pandemic?
Mm, it let me see how I can put it into words. Um, I think everything changed and nothing changed in a way. Um, Before the pandemic or before the quarantine, actually, um, the world seemed so very busy and so very ambitious and very driven. And I didn't really, I felt very exhausted just by feeling the energy of the city, of the people around me. And I was actually craving for some stillness. So when the first quarantine came, it felt so good because everyone was on the same page. Everyone had this feeling of what just happened. Everyone had to slow down, and it felt very, very, very quiet. And it was so lovely for myself and for everyone around me whom I watched, um, to actually just sit down and have this feeling of I can actually not control anything, and that's frustrating. But I need to slow down. You know, this feeling, and it was so, for me personally, it felt so good that everyone just slowed down. But at the moment, I'm sensing this change in energy. Um, the whole world feels so tensed, very angry, and I think things are changing, although we're still in quarantine or still in lockdown. Um, yeah, so I feel more quiet, but it's actually a good thing. But I also, it's a weird thing to walk um, through the streets of Berlin, and people are actually afraid to come close to you. So that feels a bit like as if I'm having this huge wall around me where no one is allowed to enter. Um, that's a weird feeling. I actually don't like it. Um, it feels a bit like people are disgusted by you. So that's also a weird feeling. Um, but all in all, I think the lockdown and this season just did a lot of good. Although many people suffer, but it's more like this material suffering. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so I noticed that in your songs, which are very beautiful, very haunting, and they're very dramatic in both lightness and darkness. But how has the pandemic impacted you creatively?
Mm, it had a great impact. Um, I was I told you about dreaming, and I'm actually writing songs about dreams. And all of these dreams I had, or about the concept of dreaming, or whatever came up in my songs, I managed to record them. I was actually um, looking for a way to record these songs, and then because of the stillness and the silence and the space these lockdowns created, I could actually record them. So that has been a very, very good. I don't know. Just has been a very good time creatively and artistically. I felt very challenged. I felt at times I felt alone. Then I felt frustrated. Then I was extremely happy. Um, the lockdown just, conjured up all kinds of different emotions, and that's always good for writing songs.
So, how often did you perform before this, or did you have any collaborators that you would work with in person?
Mm, no, I
Or
took I
solo
took a
artists?
break from live performances.
Mhm.
I felt um, mm, it didn't feel right for me to perform live. I didn't really know why at the time, but I just took the decision to not pursue any booking or um, pursue, I don't know, contacting people if I could play, or just people who offered me to play. I just declined. It just didn't feel right in the year, or like 6 months before the pandemic hit. Um, it just didn't feel right. I don't know why. I can actually not tell you why, but it kind of makes sense for me internally. Um, so everyone I collaborated with was more like getting together in a circle and creating music, but not in a commercial way. Just in a sharing circle where everyone just played music and sang and created out of the moment. That was really beautiful, and we stopped with that. We tried to do it in the summer outside, um, but yeah, inside it's not possible at the moment. So that changed, and yeah, that's the only thing I'm actually sad about. Yeah.
Did you record anything together, or was it more a spontaneous thing?
No, it was just spontaneous. I think it's very important to to sometimes don't use a microphone and don't use a recording device, and just be and create something that will just be gone after you stop. You know?
Yeah, I hear that. What is it that drives you to make music?
Mm,
Like, is there any
nothing.
particular?
There's nothing that drives me. I just I couldn't picture myself without music.
Mhm. What
Um,
does it do for you?
mm, well, when I was young, um, I always sang and I always hummed, and it gave me this feeling of relaxation. Um, I was in very difficult situations, and I just started singing, and it always made me feel very good. I felt very connected to myself and to my body, and um, it's always such such a cliche when people ask you, you know, is music a therapy for you? It's like, what isn't a therapy? Um, Everything you create is some sort of expression of yourself, and I think the voice or songs or sounds, they come out of nowhere, and you just create them, and you use your body to create them. So yeah, that drives me, just um, expressing myself, expressing this part of myself that is not um, material, it's not human in a way. Yeah.
Your visuals are actually very lovely. Do you do them all yourself, or do you have somebody that you work with that goes out and like takes videos of you?
No, I just do it all by myself. Um, I never plan anything. I think just but I have this idea in my head, and then um, I don't actually, you know, think of a time when I want to do it. It just happens. So it's like this ripening of a vision I have in my head, and then when the right moment comes, I just do it, and then it's done.
Yeah, I could see that. That sounds like such a beautiful way to work. And I really do feel like this spontaneity in your videos. And it's not overly controlled. It's like just experience someone living.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think too. It's more about um, letting go, letting go of the control. It's more about just it's like swaying, or um, a form of levitation. You're not controlling anything. You just let go and let things happen. And usually, if you're not forcing anything, they happen very naturally. And yeah, it just flows. I think that's this state of flowing. What is it called? Um, the flow. I think that's what it's all about.
It's like, what other hobbies do you have? Pastimes?
I just like actually to create things. I draw and I paint and I write and I dance. But besides creating, I do astrology, which is one of my favorite things to do besides music. And I specialize in voice and breath. Um, so you could call it voice therapist, but I don't really like the word therapist a lot. But it's a um, very nice way to actually use your voice, not just to sing, but actually to express your emotions with it. Yeah.
So you have clients that come to you who are looking for, do they have problems with their voice, or are they looking to for more of emotional expressive release?
Mm, I think most clients come because they have some kind of problem with their voice, but not really problem. It's more like, um, you know, you want to sing in a choir, but you're too afraid to actually go to the choir and sing with other people, or you only sing in the shower, and you're afraid that somebody would hear you, or you have this feeling that there's something in your throat when you sing. So all of these problems, they're actually on an emotional level, but you hear them through the voice. So it gives confidence to learn some vocal techniques, just because, you know, you need your breath. If you breathe the wrong way, then it's very hard to actually sing.
Mhm.
But the main reason is the emotional um, reaction you're having, and um, yeah. to look inside of this, to find the root. Maybe, it's all, if you're working with people, you're always working with trauma. So to find the root cause and to actually vocalize it, to give it a voice, to give this emotion or this trauma or this situation a voice, is a very relief. It's a great relief for people. Yeah.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I do sing sometimes as a therapeutic release. And sometimes things, when you repress them, it only makes them worse. So it's good
Yeah.
to have some kind of outlet for that. So, do you have any plans, any particular plans for your music? Or is it more of just a day by day thing?
No, I do have plans, but my approach to plans actually changed because I was so in my masculine side that I actually, made plans and I wanted to achieve certain things in a year or in 2 years or whatever, and that felt very draining. And for the last 2 years or so, I just opened up to the idea that I just go with the flow. So that would be opening up to my feminine, and that felt so good to just work intuitively, um, to have this. And I actually think in feelings, so I'm not having any actual plans. I'm just having this feeling of myself, who I want to be, or what my music should be like. I'm having this feeling, and I just work intuitively towards becoming that feeling. So I don't want to achieve anything anymore. I just want to live in this feeling I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Yeah, I do feel like you can get caught up with being ambitious, and that's very different from just trying to be creatively satisfied and be true to your vision. And you mentioned that there's a masculine and feminine, which I think is interesting. I never thought about it that way, but I could definitely see it that way. Um, how like men tend to be more goal oriented, focus more on things like on the surface, more tangible things, pragmatic. But you can't really be pragmatic as an artist, and you do just have to explore.
Mm.
Are there like certain states that you feel like you try to achieve through your music? Like you try to achieve sadness or empowerment or love in particular?
Mm. Well, I'm just recording this album about dreams, and I'm doing the vocal recordings at the moment. And well, I've written these songs in a particular mood. I had this one or this spectrum of feelings when I've written a song or that song, and then I want to record it. And I know what I've noticed is that I actually have to wait until I'm in the same spectrum of emotions again to actually record it, because I could technically perform a song and record it, but it would mean something different than what I actually intended it to mean when I've written it. So right now I'm actually in this very patient, um, in this patient state that I'm just waiting for the emotions to reoccur so that I could actually um, record my vocals. So I feel that these emotions or these feelings I have, I want to translate them into my songs. And sometimes I recorded a song that I've written a few days before I've actually recorded it, and I noticed that the feeling of the song changed if I sing it in a different mood, or when I'm in a different mood and then I sing it again. Does it make sense? Uh, talking about feelings, it's always a challenging thing.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, is there anything that you do to try to achieve the state that you want?
Mm, no, it wouldn't work.
Mm.
Um,
So
well,
it just has to come naturally.
yeah, well, it's very nuanced. It's well, my songs are very. I don't think they're sad, but they have this melancholic vibe.
Mhm.
But there's so much nuance in melancholy, and sometimes a melancholic song has like this sparkle of lightness, and sometimes it has this sparkle of desperation, and sometimes it has this sparkle of depression. But they're all melancholic songs, and I'm really waiting for this sparkle to come back to me. And if I could not. Well, it's always. I think it is possible to meditate on a certain emotion, but then again, it would not feel natural. So I'm just waiting, and that's a beautiful process, um, because these emotions have so much memory, and every time I'm in that emotion again, and I actually record the vocals, I remember on a physical level. I remember the moment I've written the song, and that makes it for me. That makes it more special to create a song and actually then record it. Um, when it captures this moment of pure emotion.
Yeah, but that's certainly a lot of patience. But it's like you're working with whatever gifts are being given to you. It's like you're working with whatever you have right now. You're not you know, reaching for things. I'm very interested in how your process is different from my process. It just sounds like kind of like just a more lovely, natural way of allowing things to happen instead of, I constantly feel like there's like a battle. There's like kind of something very hard there that I'm trying to push against. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I do really appreciate listening to other people about uh, their processes, and I would like to evolve how I work.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I totally relate to that feeling of pushing against something. For the most part of my life, I actually felt like um, I'm at war against something, and I don't know what it is. um, and at a then there was this moment where I was just so um, I was done fighting. I was actually done fighting, and I was like, I don't want to spend my whole life pushing against a wall, and that's what it felt like. And then I started to artistically um, conjure this wall. I painted it, and I dreamed about it, and I tried to create the sound of the wall, and I tried everything just to picture it, because what I did before that was hammering against that wall, and I felt so exhausted. And I tried a different approach. I actually tried um, looking at this wall from different perspectives, and create this wall and then listened and like, okay, what is this wall telling me? And where do I see the walls in my life? Um, it was years of practicing, years. And I think that's kind of the dichotomy of creating. It's like it looks so easy and so natural, and then there's this moment where it just flows. But before that, there's so much, or for me, there was so much struggle, but not about the art itself, but more about um, this um, division I felt inside of myself. And the closer I got to my actual core, the more I saw what this war was all about. And then it's still there, but it changed. And I found out that this is my main motivator in life, or that it was. And then I just worked through all these must, you know. Um, I mean, I can have this wall, but I don't have to have it. All these have to have it, all these must, all these words that just have like this ancient pledge I took. You know, like I pledge my allegiance to you, and like 50 years, 50 lifetimes ago, and it's still working in my lifetime, and I don't want it anymore. So I can have this wall, but I don't have to have it. You know, and that was the actual struggle, and that was the actual um, fight I was fighting all these years. And I hope that I don't have to fight it anymore, and that I find my motivator and the generator that pulls me forward in lightness.
Is there anything that you in particular want to talk about? Like your experience as a musician, anything regarding this time in this pandemic?
Well, um, I'm actually looking forward to autumn. I believe that there will be so much music coming out, so much art released. Um, so I'm very curious what will happen in the future artistically. Um, I never really identified with that you need to be in a dark mood or that you need to struggle to create. I was always against that concept. Um, I feel very inspired too when I'm struggling or um, when I have so-called negative emotions. Um, but I don't need them. But what many artist friends tell me is that they actually need it, and so I'm very curious what will come out of this time. And I think many artists will wait till the autumn until they release it, and there will be so much music, and I'm actually really looking forward to just um, hear what other people felt during this time. And I think it's the first time that we're all on the same page. And however you perceive this time, or however you feel about this time, it is, this situation we're all in, and we all have different approaches and different feelings about it, and we're all putting it into something, into music or a film or a painting. And when all of this will be released, and I think it will start in autumn, um, it will be such a rich time. So that's what I'm looking forward to artistically, and as a listener and you know receptor of art.